James couldn't shake the unease in his heart, and no matter how many times Anna reassured him, the jealousy and frustration wouldn't leave him alone. He felt trapped in a cycle of worry every time they went out together, anticipating that another man would show up and disrespect their marriage. Finally, he decided to seek advice from someone he trusted. His friend, David, was known for his bluntness, and James figured that if anyone could give him a straightforward solution, it would be him. One Saturday afternoon, James called David and asked if they could meet up. They agreed to catch up at a local bar. As they sat in a corner booth, nursing cold beers, James shared his frustrations. "David, I'm really struggling with something," James began, his voice low and heavy. "It's Anna. I love her, you know I do. But it feels like everywhere we go, men keep trying to hit on her. Even if she tells them she's married, some of them still won't back off. I don't know how to handle it anymore." David listened attentively, taking a sip from his drink before responding. "I get it, man. Anna's a fine woman. Any guy would be lucky to have her. But you can't be getting worked up over every guy who looks her way. It's not just looking," James sighed. "Some of them even approach her right in front of me. I yelled at a guy last week because he wouldn't leave her alone, and it just feels like, I don't know, like I'm not doing enough to keep her safe. I don't want to keep feeling like this." David leaned back in his chair, thinking for a moment before giving a slight smirk. "You know," he said, "there's a way to fix this. It might sound a bit out there, but it could actually solve your problem." James raised an eyebrow, curious but also hesitant. "What are you talking about?" "Make her fat," David said plainly, leaning forward as if he was sharing some secret wisdom. James was taken aback. "Make her what? Are you serious?" "Listen, man," David continued, his tone serious despite the odd suggestion. "Think about it. A lot of these guys are only going after her because of how she looks now, right? She's slim, she's got curves, she's got that figure that catches the eye. But if she were to put on some weight, she wouldn't be the same type of attractive to these guys. They'd stop bothering her." James felt a mix of disbelief and curiosity. "But how would I even do that?" "It's simple," David replied, as though this were the most natural thing in the world. "You start stocking the house with foods that'll make her gain weight. You know, fatty foods, snacks, sugary drinks, all that stuff. And when you're coming back from work, don't forget to pick up something high in fat. Pastries, fast food, you name it. Keep feeding her well, and eventually she'll put on some pounds. You won't have to worry about other men hitting on her anymore." James frowned, unsure if this was the right path. But the more he thought about it, the more it seemed like a simple, practical solution. It wasn't like he would be forcing her to eat anything, right? He would just make sure the options were there. And if it made things easier for both of them, why not give it a try? That night, James stopped by the grocery store on his way home and picked up a few items he knew Anna enjoyed. Cheesecake, ice cream, chips, and some other snacks. He also made sure to grab some rich, buttery croissants and a few packages of bacon. When he got home, Anna was in the living room reading a book. "Hey babe," James called out cheerfully as he walked in with the bags. "I picked up some treats for us. Thought it would be nice to indulge a little." Anna looked up and smiled. "Oh, that's sweet of you, James. But you know I'm trying to eat a bit healthier these days. Come on, it's okay to treat ourselves once in a while," he said, setting the bags down on the kitchen counter. "Besides, you've been working hard. You deserve a little something extra." Over the next few weeks, James made sure the house was always stocked with rich, calorie-dense foods. He didn't miss a day without bringing home something special from the store. A box of chocolates, pastries, fried foods, or cream-filled cakes. Whenever they had dinner, he'd suggest dishes that were heavy and filling. At first, Anna didn't seem to notice the subtle shift. She enjoyed the treats now and then but continued with her usual routine. However, after a couple of months, James began to see changes. Her clothes fit a little tighter around the waist, and her once flat belly had softened into a slight roundness. Her face looked fuller, and there was an extra softness to her figure. James felt a sense of relief whenever they went out together. He noticed that men didn't stare at her with the same intensity as before. There were no more bold approaches or flirtatious smiles. Even when Anna was out by herself, the attention from other men seemed to have lessened. For the first time in a while, James felt a weight lifting off his shoulders. However, as more time passed, James started to notice something else. While Anna's appearance was changing, so was her mood. She had become quieter, more withdrawn, and seemed less enthusiastic about going out. Whenever he suggested a date night, she often preferred to stay in. One evening, as they were getting ready for bed, James noticed Anna standing in front of the mirror. Her expression troubled as she looked at her reflection. He could see her touching her midsection, pinching the skin and frowning slightly. "I don't know, James," she said softly. "I feel like I've put on a lot of weight lately. My clothes don't fit the same and I've just been feeling sluggish. Maybe I should start eating lighter." James swallowed hard. He hadn't anticipated that his plan would affect Anna's confidence. He wanted to reassure her, but there was a knot in his stomach. He hadn't thought about how she would feel about herself. "You look beautiful, Anna," he said, trying to sound convincing. "I don't think there's anything wrong with a little weight gain. You're still the same gorgeous woman I married." Anna gave a faint smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Thanks, honey," she said quietly. "I just don't feel quite like myself, that's all." As James lay awake that night, staring up at the ceiling, he realized that in his desperation to stop other men from pursuing Anna, he might have created a different problem. The woman he loved was beginning to lose the spark that made her who she was. The joy that once radiated from her seemed dimmed. He had managed to ward off the attention of other men, but at what cost? James knew that something needed to change, but he wasn't sure what to do next. His plan had worked, but now a different kind of worry was taking root.